Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2017 sequel film, Jeepers Creepers 3. So, I expressed my disconnect and uh, longing to see the other films in the franchise because the creator and director, Victor Salva, is a convicted child molester and registered sex offender who only served 15 months of his 8-year sentence, something to that extent. So, I don't like the world that he created, the villain that he created, the monster that he created is created from an actual monster. And I don't like that the world the monster created, the monster that the monster created, is a good story. And it's very conflicting. It's very conflicting. This particular sequel film is just the fill in between the first and the second film. So, the end of the first film, Dari and Trish are in the police station with the sheriff, and Dari gets taken away by the creeper, and Trish is waiting in the police station for her parents to come and pick her up from the next county over, or something like that. They're currently in Poho County. So we start out that night. So I appreciate that it's a continuation of that night leading in, very much like Halloween has done a few times, the continuation of one right into the next. And then the end of the film is this kid, Buddy, is wearing his varsity basketball jacket going on to bus 226 for the championship game leading into the events of the second film. So this is really Jeepers Creepers 1.5. It's literally the fill-in between the first and second film. It's not a sequel to the third film, so it's not really a third film. I'm sorry, it's not a sequel to the second film, so it's not really a third film. It's really a 1.5 film. Sequel to the first, prequel to the second. There we go. This particular movie was slow, and it wasn't as fast, and it wasn't as horror as the first two, and it's a franchise I'm never going to watch again. We're just finishing this out, and that's it. I'm just not happy with the creator. I'm not happy with how he was still hired he was convicted of this back in the late 90s, and it wasn't like public knowledge or something to that extent until like mid 2000s somehow. And this film, and I looked this up, this film was supposed to film in Canada, and the director was barred from entry because of his criminal past, that they had to film this in Louisiana or something like that. And then there was like a couple different premieres, and like some of them were shut down because of protests, because of the horrific things that the writer and director did. Like, I don't get why he was hired. I don't get why he was hired to write and direct this again. I don't get why he was given money to write and direct this again. Why is such an evil individual allowed to stay in the public eye? I don't get it. And that's why there were so many protests in 2017 when this happened. That's why a lot of the premieres didn't happen. And that's why this film didn't do well. This film didn't do well because it's not a good film, but it's another creepy thing is creepy isn't disturbing, like real life disturbing. There was some kind of like pedophile joke in the original cut, and something with like two of the characters were talking to each other, and one about the main girl who left the city, that her mom's boyfriend, now stepdad, is taking precedence, and then she was sent to live with the grandmother in this area. And one of the characters was saying, well, oh, can you blame him? Just look at her, something like that. And it's disturbing that this convicted child molester is allowed to write this. It was approved, it was shot, it made the original cut, and then there was so much uproar from critics because of the criminal conviction. And why would you put this in there? That's disgusting. So then it was removed for the theatrical release. I don't get it. I don't get how a horror franchise is so tainted because of the creator. There was a female narrator throughout the film, revealed to be an older Trish at the end, 23 years later. She's now 44 years old. She's now going to, avenge the death of her brother Dari. But that film never happened. Victor never came back to the franchise. The woman who played Trish didn't come back. The production company decided not to move forward with using him ever again. Um, and then there's a new reboot called Reborn, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which I don't know who wrote it, directed it, but it hasn't done well with critics and audience, so I'm not excited to see it. But we're gonna watch it to finish the 4 films and never again. I don't get why monstrous people are allowed to stay in the public eye. I don't get why this was financed, why this was approved, why this was filmed, why this was distributed for 2017. I don't get it. It's disturbing. And the only real life to horror comparison franchise that actually resonates is either Saw and Purge. That's it. Everything else is fantastical. So when you have this fantastical demon creeper creature created by this actual monster, it's just creepy. It's the best word for it. It should never have happened. This individual should not be in the public eye. That's why they have not made a film since the 2017 Jeepers Creepers 3. I'm hoping that's the reason why they haven't made a film since 2017 Jeepers Creepers 3. And I never want to hear of them again. So, Jeepers Creepers 3. Let's hope that the 4th reboot is a logical continuation. Because if the films take place between 2001 and 2024 for the 23-year resting, then he's due back in 2024. So it's a matter of, will he come back in 2024? Is this a different thing? Is it a different timeline? I'm nervous. On to the next review. Mahalo.